This is Dave at AFX Search Private Investigators in Palm Beach, Florida. With a private investigation, there are valuable information opportunities from interviewing subjects. So if you have a witness to a case, a potential associate of somebody you're investigating, it may be of interest to interview a person to see what they have to say about a client, about a subject, about a defendant. Doing due diligence on the case ahead of time, that's obvious. You want to know about the case, what questions to ask the subject. At the same time, doing due diligence on that subject can be even more valuable. It may even be valuable to do some surveillance on the subject prior to interviewing them to find out what their habits are, what their interests are, where they travel to. So the main thing is finding advantages for that subject, first of all, to agree to an interview. Unlike law enforcement in the public sector, a private investigator does not have subpoena power, arrest power, or the threat of arrest to interview a subject. So you have to show the advantage for that subject to sit down with an interview with you. In some cases, one of the easiest ways to do that is to let them know is, look, you're not going to be dragged into a deposition. If you agree to sit down with me as a private investigator, that might eliminate being deposed, being subpoenaed into court. We just want to get some basic information. It's not sworn testimony. You're not under oath. We just want to get some answers to questions from you, so that way it's not official. And we worked on a divorce case where there was a subject who was a friend of the opposing side of the divorce case, and we wanted to get some information from that person. Of course, a friend of an opposing party may not want to give you that information, but when faced with the alternative of, look, if you're dragged into court in a subpoena or deposition, you're going to have to testify under oath and answer every single question offered to you. You can't say, I don't want to answer the question. If you sit down for an interview with a private investigator, if we ask you a question that you don't want to answer, you don't have to answer it. You're not under oath, you're not under subpoena, and you can't be held in contempt. So let's just sit down and answer a few questions, clear this up. If you do that, it may eliminate the opportunity where you have to come to court and answer the questions directly. So you can sell the idea to the subject where it's an advantage to them. And also, don't make it like an interrogation. If you're prior law enforcement and now you're an investigator, it might be very tempting to treat that interview like an interrogation with very hard-edged questions, authoritative and kind of intimidating structure, but that's not going to help you get the answers from that subject. So use the advantage that you have as a private investigator, that the subject is not under oath. They can leave anytime they want. It's not a sworn testimony, and they can even lie. If they lie to an investigator, it's not a crime. Right? So that you could use to your advantage at a later date if they did tell something that wasn't true. The due diligence on a subject is crucial. If you can look up what their history was. Did they have a mortgage on their property? Was that mortgage placed correctly? Mortgage fraud was a big deal in the 2000 era. If you can find where they did a mortgage as a primary resident on a rental property, that may be something that might be used for leverage. Look, you don't want to go to court where an attorney is going to ask you about all these inconsistencies in your lifestyle and maybe jeopardize your credibility. Let's just answer a few questions and get it out of the way. So dealing with an interview on a private subject that may be, a hostile witness or opposing party has some advantages to be done as a private investigator, unlike a police officer or law enforcement where there's a threat of arrest or fear that they might be getting themselves into legal trouble. Private investigator can use their status as a private person, not in the public sector of law enforcement, to their advantage to get a good interview and get good results that you can give to your client.